Prost. Hey, welcome to episode 121 of Convos on the Pedicab. I am here with the one, the only, His Excellency, Klaus Schwab Jr.
Hello, my slaves. It's your favorite oligarch, Klaus Schwab Jr. I'm drinking the adrenochrome. You know, hit me up in my DMs if you want this. Something like this is only 50,000 or 55,000 euros inflation, you know.
Yeah, and I'm drinking diet adrenochrome. I have not made it far enough in the Illuminati to drink the good stuff, but I'm working. I'm doing my best. I had a job interview this morning. I tried to be the city manager. Last week, I applied to be the CEO of Austin Energy, but this job, it requires more responsibility, so I'm dressed a little bit more formally.
Yes, I could see this. Yes, very good for you.
Yes.
Yes, the city of Austin keeps losing power, like if they have like small ice storm or... Oh no, you broke the force nose. Yes, they lose power with like little ice storms. The problem is I think they don't like trim the branches like normal. Only when the power gets shut off. It's like even when I don't have the date, I trim the hedge. I look great all the time, you know.
Well, you know, it's what we need to do to fight climate change also.
Yes, absolutely. You trim the hedges. You look good, you know.
Don't have power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just shut this off for the peasants so you cannot make heat up your empanada. You eat this cold. And that fights climate changing.
Yeah, sustainability. Speaking of which, how is Davos?
Oh, yes. Well, I just came from the Global Government Conference in the Africa Times. And I took UFO here because, you know, we brought them over to the Western world on the boats and we say, make slavings, but it's much more efficient and good for the environment if we do this there. You know, stakeholder slavery, stakeholder capitalism for you. You know, you just own the slaves in your local. Like, the oligarchy owns the local, like the shareholder of slaves.
Yeah, and we have 15-minute cities that we're trying to do. Can you tell us about 15-minute cities?
Well, we want to geolocate your phone at all times and make sure that you stay in your little state, your little province for you. And when you travel, it is not good for the environment. Stick to being a townie with those ideas your whole life.
I agree. I could not agree with you more. You're really doing a lot of great stuff. I'm really happy that you're sharing.
Yes,
I'm really happy you're sharing your plan and, you know, a lot of the experts' plan for a future.
Yes, you know, it's very interesting for me because it was Dienstag was Valentine's for daytime.
Yes.
And a lot of like girls were hitting me up in my DMs and I tell them like love is not real. Everything is a commodity or waste product from commercial enterprise. And so it's like, how do you measure how do you measure it's gross.
Yes. Well, how do you deal with the selfish conspiracy theorists who still think it's okay to have children, even when we're in a climate crisis?
Yeah, let me drink my adrenochrome right now. I'm getting... After we geolocate you and we see that you're townie and you stay in this area and you can have sustainable baby or with the solar panels, and they will get the brain chip in the brain and be the local slave for the stakeholder. Then you have approval for this. But, you know, just making, you know, free range kinder, you know, taking trains and buses, you don't know where they are, you know, using cash, you know, this is not good for the empire.
Yeah, and I understand fully.
Yeah.
What's going on with
But
what's going on with the train crashes and the train derailments?
Yes, well, we have different operations now. It's real easy to get CDL because commercial driver's licensing, because some of the really good older drivers have had explosive heart attackings from certain mandates we had. So we lower the bar to get CDL, and now like empanada truck like crash into train like all the time. This happens like often. But I will make mention that you asked me about Davos. Davos was January 20th to the 26th, I think. And it is February 15th today. And still, there are stragglers there at Davos, like trying to make deal, for example, like desperate losers who like hang around. There was one from the third world last Vikings, and he was like, I need to make deal with you. And I was like, okay, well, we need walk-in freezer at the Davos headquarters. And we asked for exchange. And so I just, this loser, I gave him rusty trombone like this, you know? And I finished the job, right, on camera. And he's such a loser. He's been there like making a walk-in freezer. It's like, think of the exchange rate of the effort. It was like 25-minute rusty trombone, and now he's working like 6 weeks to build us this. So, you know, what a loser.
Interesting.
But, yeah, so that's a global governments conference. This happened in Africa right now. This is the last talk of four. I was making speakings on the 13th, so on the 14th. And then I take UFO to Austin because I make my obligations. But yeah, we are making setting up the structures with the global leaders to make a global government, and then we will take over the world.
Yeah, I think the train derailments are brilliant.
Yeah, so this is I mean, it's way to make pollution. It's way to like change the news cycle away from the Epstein flight log, away from crimes against humanity. It's like, oh, look at this nice explosion.
Yeah, and it helps put us into the 15-minute cities to actually fight climate change.
Yes, because look how far the train has to go for the resources. No, stay in your little towny area.
Yeah,
and we will geofence you like electric fence, like a puppy in an electric fence.
Interesting. What's going on with the UFOs, Your Excellency?
Well, it's kind of hilarious for me. Like, oh, and then they chase UFO. It's like, yeah, I drove one here. But, you know, there are some people who are above the lines. And so some people below the line. And yes, if you are in the knowledge and you have access for this, but if you are, you know, below.
Are the UFOs real, or are we just using the UFOs to distract the peasants?
Well, we've had them since the 50s, but certain slaves, like, they see them or they film them and they go, oh, I made discovery of this. It's like, okay. Well, I just got fucking Blumpkin in it the other day. I was taking a shit in the UFO toilet while getting blowjobs. So, yes, it's very novel for me. Like, newsflash, yes, we've been having them for 60 years now, you fucking loser.
Yeah, and so how is Zergakaz?
Oh, it's the Draco Reptilian?
Yeah.
Yes, he's not always trustworthy, this man, you know?
Yeah, how so?
Well, we were playing, it was like long flight back to Argentina, and then we had to go to Greenland, and we play like the Twister.
Oh.
So we put out the board, and then, you know, I say, okay, well, you cannot use your other arms, just the 2 arms, 2 legs, right? And then every time you foul, you have to remove Kleidungs,
yeah,
right? And then I was in iffy position where I had to like twist my body and make this. And then he used his other arm and he grabbed my leg and flipped me. And then he's like, get naked now. You know, and so you cannot trust him with this. But he's really smart.
How's the lawsuit going? Apparently, there was the last time we spoke, you were suing him in the Intergalactic Federation to have control of everything.
Yes.
And do you think that like these UFOs and these balloons are kind of a product of this lawsuit?
Well, yes, he makes distraction from this. Yes, I have to follow up with this, but I think he settled out of court, you know. He settled out of court. I run low on my stock of adrenochrome, and then like 3 cases of this show up, and I did not pay for this. So he's like, look, we don't need to bring this to the Intergalactic Federation in the lawsuit. It was a little embarrassing for him because, you know, he cheated of the strip poker.
Yeah.
And so I caught him makes this, and I gave hand jobs with my mouse and asshole to like 12 of his friends. It was really embarrassing for him.
Yes, embarrassing for him.
Can I tell you I have update from the global government conference in Africa times?
Yes.
Well, it turns out that the Kinder in the cages of the border, yes, we're making the plans for the transhumanism. And so they're really good, like, test subjects. Like, for example, like at Davos, like, we have, like, a Kinder, like, who we put, like, toaster, like, in his belly. And then he walks around at Davos and he gives out, like, the little hors d'oeuvres. And they keep heated in him. So we install toaster oven in his belly times. And then another, we flatten his skull. And then we put a dish on there and he walks around for the champagnes. Right? So, like, we're using them, we're giving them employments. I don't want to talk about the charity I make.
What is the charity?
Well, we're giving occupations to the Kinder in the cages, you know. Like, one of them, we remove his hands and we put a knife and scissors there, and then he chops up, like, the shrimp for the cocktail, like the shrimp cocktails. Like, I know it's like, I don't really like to talk about all the charities I make, but not only are we giving them, like, a skill, but also, like, there's pioneers of the transhumanisms.
Interesting.
Yes, and their parents are killed. But I don't like to talk about my charities.
But it's to help reduce population for climate change.
Yes, this helps climate change, and then we get good, you know, workers for, like, the cocktail party, because, you know, when the world leaders come there, sometimes they're like, oh, I forgot to have snack before the conference, and then the toaster belly comes, and, you know, so it helps everybody. This is equitable,
equity.
equitable
Yes.
access to employments for you, and for hunger in the belly times of the world leaders or the stakeholders.
Wow. This is fascinating.
Yes.
How do you feel? How do you feel about how the kids are developing?
Well, yes, we push them along with the hormones in the milk times. You know, we had really bad press with the Epstein Islands. And so now we make development of the Kinder earlier with the hormones in the milk times, you know.
What about the educational curriculum? I feel like you guys are doing a really good job of reimagining the public schools in America.
Yes, well, we put not pornography in the textbooks, but really graphic images and drawings of, hey, if you want to be on Grindr, you can make like this.
Yeah, and how old do the kids have to be?
Well, we start the hardcore indoctrination, like in middle school, or like, well, we have the tranny story times to be like, you can be any gender you want, you know. But people have these dogmatic rules of like, oh, I only eat the beef, I can't eat the bugs, or like, I only want to have sex with the humans, I won't have sex with the goats or the pig. Like, people are like so like locked into their. Like, a farm is like a harem if you have an open mind for this. It is cornucopia. You go under the earth, you eat the worms, you know. So everyone should have equitable accessing to Grindr, to, you know, the dating apps for you, and they should get education about this.
Yeah, we went to a school board meeting together.
We did, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to help put Klaus Schwab's vision, put your father's vision into play.
Daddy.
And I was trying to just move up in the Illuminati, and we both had a chance to speak together.
Yes. I think the school lunch programmings, people are really like, you know, they don't care about the future as the way I do, you know. And I know that very soon we will merge with machines, and we need to have sustainable calories for us. And, you know, people, they only eat like the muscle tissue of the swine or the cow, like the pig or the cow. But this is like limits. There are limits of this.
Yeah, and so we have to start eating better, like insects.
Oh, yeah, eat the bugs. Eat the bugs. Like, people, for example, like we had the band The Beatles in the 60s. And they like the music, but not the burger from this. We can blend the Beatles into burger with binders and chemicals and then artificial flavor. Like, we have the flavoring of like the char-grilled hamburger, for example. We put this in from the chemicals, lots of side effects, and then you eat the beetle, and then everyone is more sustainable. Everyone has satisfying belly meals. And then I also make modest proposals that we should make really, really stressful tests for them. And then if they don't pass it, then they can be blended into, like the classmates we can make sausage from them. So this is incentivizing to do good on the testings.
Yes, and it also helps with climate change.
Absolutely, yeah. More sustainable when you only have the towny smart kids that stay in the geofence location.
And there's a lot less carbon that goes into the atmosphere.
Yes, and humans, for example, are made of carbon.
Yeah.
So we need less of this.
So what are we doing to depopulate the slaves so that, it's about our planet, Uncle Klaus?
Well, when the Georgia Guidestones were up there, they say that the population should be 500 million. And during the Jabby Jab depopulation campaign, for example, then we had to make exploding of this because this was like it laid out the blueprint, and it was like inconvenient for us to be like in stone like that. So we demolished this. But yes, we go out in different ways. We put, make pacification of the intelligence and the purpose of the human slaves with the fluoride in the water. We make the chemtrails to aspirate aluminum and bromine, which is not good for you. And yes, we make very confusing of the genders. So in the genders, like all the new genders, it's he, him, they, Zimzer, der, die, das, Opa, which means grandpa in German, Oma. This is real. Like I read this, and some of them are Opa and Oma. It's like, yeah, you are 5-year-old Korean girl, but yes, you are a German grandpa. Okay, so we just confuse them,
Yeah. So what does confusing them do?
It makes them like not want to we promote any kind of sexual interaction that does not create kinder, so we make promotions of like Zoom chattings, chatterbaitings, cutting yourself, like asphyxiation, masturbation with toys, with and it's really helpful in the transhumanist community. Like maybe, for example, you're at home at night and you see and you're feeling like erotish, and then you see like calculator, for example, or you see like digital, what is it when you Xerox something like a scanner for, just touch this, play with this, like puts your schwanz off there, or like just like put, you know what I mean, like be erotish with this, and this will aid in the transition of the transhumanist agenda.
Interesting. That makes sense, because when the children grow up with no identity,
exactly,
it seems like they don't need to have a family anymore. They don't need to care about the Constitution. They don't own a business. Yeah. So it makes it easier to really, groom them into how we want this new world to be going forward.
Yes, you start them young. You make sure that they have no idea, like they do not trust what they see, in the nature.
Yes. Well, so what do you do about those pesky parents who complain about this and speak at these meetings? I feel like they're almost, what do you do about them?
We make incremental humiliations of them. We update their computer machines, and we make them go through our servers so that we can monitor them and see if they're a good slave or a naughty one. When we lower their ESG score, when they want to rent automobile, for example, it will be more expensive if they have high ESG score. So in many passive aggressive ways, we can just raise their mortgage rate. We made accident. Now your mortgage is 15,000 euros per month. Fuck you. So when you're as a banker, you could just go bloop. Wow. And make humiliations.
So tell me more about ESG.
Yes. So ESG.
Tell me what is ESG and what is it used for?
Well, we want to give equitable access on sustainable developmentations. So you can get a good banking loan, for example, like favorable terms of this.
Yeah.
if you stay in your towny area and you change your gender every fiscal quarter. So, like this is more sustainable because then you won't have like, again, free range, freedom. Like if you do not teach about history or like the Constitution, excuse me, if you do not talk of this or, and you go to Chinese story time, your ESG score go up. So, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense.
You ride bicycle, you trade an automobile for the pedicab, for example.
Yeah, or you own a railroad company, and instead of hiring somebody who has a mechanical engineering degree or somebody who knows how to drive a train, you hire, a transgender.
Or an ash clown,
yeah,
for example.
you hire a transgender to drive the train who's never driven a train before, and they crash the vehicle, they cause a chemical spill, and but it's okay because you hired a transgender and your ESG score went up, so you're gonna get a better loan.
Yes, you do not go with who is competent. You go with who is good for his PR, good optics.
Well, this is why I'm dressed like this, to be the new city manager.
I think you are shoo-in with this.
Yeah, and my wife, she has testicular cancer, so it's like literal violence to not hire me.
I agree with this. I agree. I will make recommendation letter for you.
What did it say?
It will say from the World Economic Forum letterhead, and it will say, Alex Slanger, you must make the CEO of Austin Energy for you. His wife, she has growth in her Schwanz and testicles, and for their happy family. So you're kind of like racist, sexist, homophobic if you do not, anti-Semitic, Putelphobia if you do not put in this ash clown with no qualifications.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Does this mean I'm moving up in the Illuminati?
I think so, yes. Well, we make digitalization of the ESG, and this is what the social credit score is. If you have a high enough social credit score, for example, if you have like the right bloodline, for example, then you fly around in the UFO, and then you laugh when the surface monkeys put this on the teletubes. I'm not sure what else I need to talk for. I've gone through my talking points. Yes, I told you about the border crisis being... Oh, yeah. The kids in the cages, they're very... They give us the consent because we do not speak their language. And when they say, yeah, okay, then we put like... We bash their skull to hold champagne. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, that's for the environment. It's for sustainability. It's about
Absolutely.
job creation. It's equity. It's stakeholder capitalism. One more question before we say goodbye.
Yeah.
I always notice that every time there's a Davos meeting, a catastrophe always seems to follow right afterwards. Like last year after Davos, they had the Uvalde shooting. This year, right after Davos or during Davos, they had the police beating up that guy in Memphis. Got all over the news. Does this happen on purpose, or are these just coincidences? What's going on?
Well, we have to change the news cycle. This is our big trick, like you ever see Magic Show, and then the guy puts the pigeon in his pocket, and then cards fall out, or So when something is in the news cycles that is inconvenient for us, we go, Joe Biden makes Shiza out G20. We go school shooting. We go, okay, UFO time. We go weather balloon with a shitty satellite dish. Oh, 24-hour news cycle.
So speaking of the weather, what's going on in Turkey?
Turkey, yes, we well, I can only speak from what I experienced, right? So when I was in the HARP facility, the High Altitude Research Projection in Alaska times.
Yes.
And it was when the Joe Biden clone get in the White House with his new face mask, and the other one was dead and buried. But Hunter was alive, and we need place to make orgy, and so we go in there, and it was me and Hunter and 4 girls. And I was on drugs. I was eating asshole. I was, pressing buttons, and I was in the heart facility. But when I woke up, it was only me and Hunter in the sleeping bag. I don't know when the girls left, but I was like this on the floor eating asshole. Blah 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 blah. But when I woke up, the building fell in Miami. Whoops, I don't know. So I don't know. You have to check who was in the heart facility around the times that the Turkey earthquake happened. Maybe after the Davos meeting, we were like, hey, you're a dictator of the third world who want to press a really fun button. Oh, the prime minister or president of Turkey sent you a nasty email? Okay, why don't you push this button? Oh, that's nice. Fuck you. Coop. And then they're like, Klaus Schwab got bad press. Oh, where's the office? Bloop. ESG score go down. Earthquake happen. Oh, boo. Okay. Well, I'm being told that the battery of the audio visual equipment is on shaky terms, so we have to say goodbye for now. Convos on the Pedicab for the second time. The zweite Mal was Klaus Schwab Jr., everyone's favorite oligarch.
Yes, and you can follow Klaus Schwab Jr. on Instagram.
Yes.
One of the things about being in the Illuminati is they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. So if you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on, as well as prepare for the future, this is the man to follow.
Thank you.
Klaus Schwab Jr., thank you very much. His pronouns are God and deity.
Thank you for remembering this.
Yes.
Very important for you. Goodbye for now.